Hi, my name is Erin, and this is Kathy Kang again with her declaration, request, warning, and invitation to raise our voices. Now, we can interpret this idea of raising our voices more than one way. Certainly, it could be shouting, but it doesn't have to be. It's speaking up in a way that might get people to listen. Speaking up on a matter, an issue that matters to us in a way that makes people pay attention. The thing is every one of us has those things that matter. Sometimes we're nervous to share them. And we might be nervous because of our identity, that somebody might not want to listen to us. But I want to change that point of view. Your identity gives you unique perspectives, unique experiences. And those perspectives and experiences can add to the conversation. And you can use those as points to build ethos. Your identity matters, and you can use it in a way that gets people to trust you. Which brings me to the title of the slide show. Identities, ethos, narratives, and blogging. 4 things that don't necessarily seem like they relate, but they relate in my head, and let me see if I can tie it all together in a way that helps you see what I mean. Now, the first question I want to ask you is, when you think about your own life, and you've just done an exercise on this, which are the identities that make you you? You have a lot of them. We all have this intersection of identities that make us us. But what are those? And if you think about communicating in the real world, you also want to think, which identities do you want to share? I don't always want to share that I teach English, because if I do, people get really weird about grammar and they start apologizing. And the thing is I don't really care. So I don't often share that unless somebody asks me, what do I do? And I say, I'm a teacher. And then I teach at San Diego State and, blah, blah, blah. It's a real audience. I have to think, how do I want to portray myself to that audience? I don't share everything about me. I'm picking and choosing. Whenever we communicate in a real world, we have an audience. That's the deal. It's not about a teacher who gives us a grade. And so we have to think about it. Who do I want to be in this context? Now, hopefully you're wanting to be somebody who's real and authentic, because quite frankly, you can only sustain a false identity for so long. But you want to portray yourself, your real self, in a way that helps people know, do you have something worth saying or not? Do I want to listen to you or not? And your identity can make you seem like you have something worth listening to or not. And that's kind of funky, but here's how this connects, at least part of it. Ethos is what makes you seem trustworthy. And people won't listen to you unless you seem trustworthy. And so we pull back to Aristotle, and he says there are 5 things that make us seem like we're trustworthy or not. If we seem knowledgeable, we seem more trustworthy. When we think of knowledgeability, sometimes we think about degrees that we might have or certifications or citations. But knowledgeability goes beyond that. It's experience. Somebody might ask me about parenting. I have 3 children, they're all functional adults. And so they might ask me about my experience with parenting because they know me as a parent. I have no degrees in child family development, never took any classes, no psych classes, but I've been a parent. And so they might ask about that. I also homeschooled my kids. So somebody might ask me about homeschooling, what worked, what didn't work, what experiences I would want to share. So it's our experiences, the things we've observed, the things we've seen, at least as much as our education, maybe more so. We're also likely to trust people who seem objective or fair, like they're willing to look at more sides of an issue. For better or worse, we're also likely to trust someone who seems like they see this world in the same way we do. And so we might want to portray ourselves as sharing certain values that our audience has. We're also more likely to trust someone who seems concerned for us in some way or seems good. And as we shape this and these 5 things, we can see that whether or not we seem knowledgeable, fair, values, good, concerned, depends a lot on the audience. And so we have to think about who that audience is. Because we don't seem trustworthy, people will not necessarily want to listen to us. The way we build ethos, trustworthiness, changes depending on the audience. And so we think about writing, and I want to pull back to E. Shelley Reid, who says, show, don't just tell. When I say that, a lot of times students think it's about colorful adjectives. Let me tell you what color my eyes are, and my hair is, and what color dress I'm wearing. Yellow, by the way, goldenrod. But that doesn't really show you who I am. But if I tell you certain things I do, you get an idea of who I am. Whether I'm a risk taker, or I'm energetic, or athletic, or scholarly, I'm not a risk taker, and I'm not adventurous. But if I tell you that I got this weird sense when I entered the gate at the airport and it said Nairobi, you know that I will take risks, but I feel a little out of body experience when I do them. Actions describe who I am, maybe more than that I have blonde hair. The vocabulary I choose says a lot who I am. Am I using 5-syllable words all the time? Talking about esoteric ideas? Or do I talk about real things, things that people can relate to? That's one of the reasons why E. Shelley Reid's article was so easy to read, is because her examples made sense to us. We could relate to them. And yet she's a scholar. She chose to share one part of our identity and not the other. References, colors, examples, stories, all of those things help us show and not just tell. Stories. I want to encourage you to tell stories. You did that in the discussion board last week, and you're going to be telling stories all semester long. Briggs and Woolbright, some scholars in writing center literature, talk about the importance of narratives, personal narratives, because they provide a way to speak things otherwise unspeakable, to give voice to that which would otherwise go unheard. You have your own stories based on your experiences, which are based on your identities, which shape your perspective of the world. By sharing your stories, we understand things we would never otherwise understand. Harriet McBride Johnson says storytelling is an activity. It is not an object. Stories are the closest we can come to shared experience. If I tell you a story that puts you in my shoes and you can see it and feel like it's happening to you, we connect. Like all stories, they are most fundamentally a chance to ride around in someone else's head and be reminded that being who we are and where we are and doing is not the only possibility in the world. Stories are powerful and they can change people's minds. Gloria Ansaldúa says, I write to record what others erase when I speak, to rewrite the stories others have miswritten about me, about you. I want to challenge you. Sorry about that. I want to challenge you to hypothetically connect with real audiences this semester. I know it's a class. I know everything we do is an exercise. It's not really real, but it can be if you want it to be. And that brings us to the blogs, an opportunity to write for a real audience. This class. Whenever you write in a discussion board, you have a real audience. It's this class. And you're going to be creating blogs, and you're creating blogs for this class, a real audience who will read your writing. And you want to write in a way that connects with them. Now, what is a blog? I've copy-pasted Wikipedia's definition of a blog. It's a discussion or informational website published on the World Wide Web. Do people say that anymore? I don't know. It has discrete, often informal, diary-styled text entries. They used to just be individuals, but now groups and corporations can have them, but they often cover a single subject or topic. A single subject or topic could be you, but it could be a focus on finances or real estate or books or recipes or nutrition or health. They can be about anything. You are going to create your own blog this semester. You have 5 posts, an introductory post, a poem, don't freak out, it'll be fine, and 3 whatever you want posts. So you get to choose your own theme, your own topics. You're going to read and comment on other student blogs. There are distinct due dates for posts and comments on other blogs. That keeps us all on track and engaged. We get to know each other. And so I want you to think, like, what identities do you want to share to build ethos? And how will you raise your voice? And what do you want to write about? You choose. What matters to you? Remember, write about what you know about, what you care about, what you're passionate about, what you want to, E. Shelley Reid. More on the blogs in the rest of this week's Canvas. And I'm done.